And here we are. What is going on, everyone? Welcome. Today is Wednesday. It is April 27th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Yep, switching up tea today. I hope you're all doing well. Good morning to Stacy and Liz and John and Nathan and all the rest of you watching live later or listening. How are you? How was your Tuesday? What are you looking forward to for Wednesday? I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you. Man, yesterday was a busy day. Didn't quite go the way it was expected. Had a meeting that got canceled. Kind of rescheduling like far out into the future. And it left me with time to do other stuff. I was in Burlington and hanging out and doing lots of work at Panera. And I'm just thankful that I can do that and get some of my work done. Good morning, Dennis and Josh and Frank. Frank says, I thought you were going to be on Twitch today. Twitch is Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is Wednesday, right? We use Twitter Monday, Wednesday, Friday because it's the bigger platform for us at this point. Dennis says, happy all-in weekend eve party, people. Yeah, we're going to have a good time there. And everybody's saying hello to everybody else. I like that. I like that you guys do that. What else happened yesterday? I had a prospect meeting with a potential client, and I knocked it out of the park. He was reeling from the marketing advice I was giving him, and just like taking notes furiously. And it'll be a couple months, which is kind of a bummer. I didn't realize we had that kind of a timetable. I thought we were going to be able to move forward faster than that, but it is what it is. And so you just kind of cross your fingers and hope. So, what's going on today? Andrew and I are going to record. I got a client call. Frank and I have a call. And I think I'm just going to hang out. Like I've been burning the candle at both ends and I'm tired. Good morning, Ray. So, yeah. It's warm in here. I'm going to move this down. I got tea. Yesterday I had coffee and it was too much. I'm still not adjusted back to the caffeinated coffee. I should probably be drinking decaf exclusively, but that's not what I did. And I had the cup that I had on the show, and then I had about half a cup after and just was wired, and it was too much, and it was bouncing off the walls. There are worse things to be or do, though. Right? It's raining out. It was raining yesterday. What else do I have to share? More birds waking me up, tapping on the windows. These weren't crows this morning. Some kind of songbird. I could just hear them, kind of like that. I'm like, oh, let me sleep, birds. But they did not. Kelly says, burning both ends and middle. Yeah, I know what that feels like. Yeah. And she says, Dennis, woo. I'm going to have to rest up for this weekend because there's a lot going on. And I want to make sure that I can give all of you who are coming to All In Weekend the best possible experience. So I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm going to have to rest up because I've got a feeling there will be some late nights as Andrew and I call audibles and adjust things because we have goals for the event. It's not just we're going to run through this agenda. There are a lot of things that may need adjustment as we go through. And when are we going to have time to do that? When everyone goes to bed. Sleep in advance, sleep later. Jenny says, oh, good morning, Gad. Jenny says, I think he's lighting the candle and throwing it into a blazing inferno. I haven't done that recently. But yeah, I do tend to have a lot going on. And Frank says, I'm guessing the birds at home were not as loud as the ones in Belize. Definitely not. Those were some loud birds. Holy cow. Do you guys remember that? Oh, it's loud. Crazy loud. And then the fact that they were far away while being that loud was also quite impressive. Good morning, Andy. Well, So what do we got? So Frank wrote in something that we'll talk about, a little bit different than what we normally do. I asked you guys a question on Facebook, and I'll give it to you now so you can think about it. A number of you answered it already, but give out everyone else the opportunity. Don't answer it yet. Answer it later when it's time. And I will read it to you so I get it right. When you purchase non-training clothing, do you consider the implications of wearing that clothing in a self-defense situation? Do you think about when you buy shoes, would these be good shoes for a self-defense situation, etc.? Don't tell me now. Tell me later when we get there. Yeah, so today's a fairly simple day. It'll be busy, but simple. It doesn't have a lot of things going on back and forth. At some point, I'll pack for the weekend. I'll probably do that Friday morning, to be honest. It's okay. There's always time. There's plenty of time. Good morning, Anthony. Anthony says, love the collection on the shelf over your left shoulder. Yes, that is my bottom shelf whiskey collection. Everything on that shelf costs less than $15 for a glass bottle of 750 milliliters. Got 4, 5, I don't know, it was like 15 bottles up there. Some good stuff too. Like everything else, whiskey doesn't have to be expensive. Cost and quality correlate, but not 100%. Ed Stacy says, yes, we heard the bird. Bird, bird, bird is the word. Is anyone else a fan of the recurring bird jokes on Family Guy? They've made use of that song, I don't know how many times. And Kelly says, listen to the podcast yesterday. Good episode, like always. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And just a reminder, if any of you have guest suggestions, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. If you have topic suggestions, you can email those in. If you have questions you want Andrew to use for the next Q&A episode, you can email him or Facebook him, whatever works for you. Andrew@whistlekickmartialartsradio.com is his email address. But thank you. I'm glad you all like it. Do I have anything more to say? No, let's switch. Let's switch over. My monologue is going to be a little short this morning because I don't know what else to say. So instead of just forcing it, let's just switch into it. So Frank wrote in, and I appreciate this. Thank you, Frank, as always. Today is Tell a Story Day. What is your favorite story to tell? And I'm going to read all three of these because I'm going to combine them into my answer. Why is this your favorite story? And last but certainly not least, tell us the story. My stories that I like to tell have to do with travel. You know, ridiculous things that have happened. The time I shared a bench with a baby seal, or the time I hiked in and around the second largest active volcano in the world in Galapagos and could not tell how large the crater was. There was no point of reference. Was it a mile? Was it 10 miles? Come to find out it was 2 miles. What else? Most of them are travel. But the one that I thought I would tell you, because I took a look at this ahead of time. Stacy says, email Andrew with guessing questions. Yes, please. The one I thought I would tell you was about me climbing around the rim of the Grand Canyon. So in 2017, I stopped by the Grand Canyon. The Whistlekick warehouse was just outside Phoenix, in a city called Chandler, Arizona. And we had moved everything over there as a result of Hurricane Harvey decimating South Texas, where our warehouse had been before. And I wanted to go out and meet the people involved. Some of the people were still involved. Other people were new. I wanted to go meet them, check out the operation. There was discussion about some growth ideas, lots of cool stuff. But it was so expensive to fly into Phoenix that it was cheaper to fly to Vegas, rent a car, drive down to Phoenix, and rent a hotel. It was absolutely insane, the price difference. So that's what I did. I flew into I flew into Vegas, got a cheap hotel in one of the grossest casinos I've ever been in, probably the grossest. Hadn't been updated in at least 40 years. Smelled like smoke everywhere, but it was like $60 a night, so whatever. And no, I didn't play any games. I don't gamble. And so grabbed a car, drove down, and on the way back took a longer route so I could stop by the Grand Canyon. And I got there and I'm looking around and I was surprised at how little there was in terms of security barriers. All the tourists backing up to it with their cameras out. And I was like, man, no wonder a couple people a year fall into this thing. It's insane. And there were just too many people and I didn't trust them. So I walked around the rim and got down probably about a half mile to a mile away from where I was parked and saw this really cool spot that would make for some great photos. And I'm looking at it. I was like, how do I get there? And I spent about 20 minutes thinking, not only how do I get there, how do I get back up? Because the last thing I wanted to do was be one of those people who needed to be rescued. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm thinking, I think I can do this. And so I lowered my backpack down and climbed down and I took some absolutely amazing photos, just great, great photos. And then it took me about 20 minutes to get back up. And the whole time I'm hoping, I hope all the snakes are hibernating because I'm definitely putting my hands in places that I can't see. Come to find out, nope, they would have been awake. They would have bit me. It would have been bad. But I didn't have any contact with snakes. I did see a tarantula. That was kind of neat. Not while I was climbing. That was later. But while I was down there, looking out over the Grand Canyon, honestly, if you've never been to the Grand Canyon, it is incredible. You cannot see anything that is not Grand Canyon. If you face the Grand Canyon, you can't see anything else. 100% of what you see is Grand Canyon. It's crazy. And while I was down there, people were looking over there. They're like, how did you get down there? How did he get down there? I want to get down there. But nobody else was willing to do it. It's okay. I have photos very few people have. Good morning, Brian. Jenny says, my Mason's fourth day of kindergarten is my favorite story to tell. I have to do it in person. He's turning 18 in a few weeks. Well, I look forward to that story. I like telling travel stories because that's kind of why I do it, right? I like coming back with photos and the photos reinforce the stories, but really it's about the stories. It's about the experiences. And I've been pretty direct since day one of martial arts radio. All we have is stories. We're telling stories. The oldest form of communication is stories. We tell stories about what's going on. It goes all the way back to pictographs and in caves. We tell stories. And so to share those stories with people, hopefully because they want to hear them, is a lot of fun. When I spend time with other martial artists, I hear their stories. I heard a crazy number of great stories over the weekend. Just wonderful. Some intense, some funny, some scary stories. And I think stories just give us perspective on what the world is or could be or who these people are. And to me, I think that's great. Do I have any other good travel stories I can share with you? I'm not great at remembering them. It takes something to prompt me to remember them. I told all you guys about Belize and swimming with sharks and all that. Yeah, if I think of another one, I will tell you. So let's switch gears to this question on Facebook here. Share this tab. Is it coming through? It appears to be. Here we go. When you purchase non-training clothing, do you consider the implications of wearing that clothing in a self-defense situation? I do most of the time. Depends on the circumstances. If I'm buying a suit or clothing for a wedding or something, I care about that a little less. If it's clothing I'm going to wear more frequently, I definitely do. Gad says, definitely. I buy shoes that make no sound and are light. Trousers and other clothing shouldn't constrict movement. No skinny jeans. Dennis says, if I can't move freely and fight while wearing it, I will not buy it. And Mark says, non-training clothing? Question mark. Andrew says, I didn't used to, but now that I own my first pair of super stretchy jeans, I'll always wear these. I've got a couple pairs of fairly stretchy jeans, and I've got pretty good movement in them. Yeah, you probably don't need a lot of movement to be able to kick to the knee, the ankle. If you're doing self defense and you're kicking higher than that, you're probably putting yourself at undue risk, but no judgment. And then Barbara McCoy says, always, how about the rest of you? Do you consider the self defense implications of your clothing when you buy it or when you put it on, when you're getting ready for the day? Do you think, I have above average chance of getting into a thing today. Let's make sure I'm wearing the right shoes or whatever. Ray says, I try to consider self defense in my day to day clothing if I am forced to wear something that isn't conducive to a self defense scenario due to a special event, work, or my wife telling me what to wear. I try to think, what can I do for self defense given what I'm wearing? Truth is, in a real situation, you probably will be facing less than ideal conditions anyway. Well said. Well said. So, how about the rest of you? Any other thoughts on that? It's nice to know that we have more options. It wasn't that long ago that wearing sneakers all day wasn't considered professional, that wearing jeans wasn't considered professional. They had to show up in a suit and tie. Anybody ever tried to fight in a suit and tie, or at least do forms in a suit and tie or jacket? It doesn't work so well. Yeah. Fortunately, I've never had to deal with that, but I'm sure people out there have, and we've definitely seen some interesting movie fight scenes. Jason Statham comes to mind as someone who always seems to get into his fight with a suit on. Good morning, Mark. Jenny says, absolutely, I wear t-shirts and yoga pants regularly. I hate training in shoes, but I do it so I have an idea of what to expect if the time comes. When I have to wear something fancier, I practice techniques to know what my range of motion is to be prepared. Fun fact, my entire household is known for doing forms in the dressing rooms when buying clothes. That's awesome. And she adds on, I did forms in my wedding dress and heels. That's cool. I like that. Do you have pictures of that? I'd like to see. More water in my tea. Anybody else? Anybody else? We may have a short episode today. That's okay. That was hotter than expected. Yeah. So if Andrew and I are recording, are we doing a Q&A? We may or may not be doing a Q&A. I don't know. This is when I just show up and he does all the work, which I appreciate. Kelly says, since I teach 6 days a week, I am almost always in uniform pants. But on the off chance I actually get to wear regular clothes, I'll usually wear jeans that have room to move and a pair of boots for good kicks to the knee or stomping the foot. And I have my keychain weapon. There you go. Yeah. We could put out a whole line of training clothing. Remember the Chuck Norris kicking jeans? Century's gone through like 4 iterations of those. I actually have a pair of the current crop. They're okay. I like that they are stretchy. I don't like the way they're cut. They're baggy in the wrong spots, but they are effective. I tend to wear them around the house if I'm working outside. They've definitely been devoted. But Stacy says, my size, you buy what you can get. I understand. It's hard to find clothes that fit, especially if you are shaped to be non-average, right? Like I have shoulders and I'm short. I realized because I bought a vest. All the other shirts I wear are mediums. I needed a small because otherwise the vest comes down to my knees because I'm a short guy. All right. Jenny says, my instructor has several pairs of kicking jeans. The rest of his clothes consist of lots of camo. Nice. And Frank asks, have you ever done an EDC Thursday episode? We've done episodes on kind of like improvised weaponry, pocket weaponry, things self-defense tools that people might carry. I don't know that you would consider those what you're asking, though. I don't know that we talked about flashlights back when I did that episode. My pocket flashlights. Like if I had to choose between that and my knife, I would choose a flashlight every time. I'd rather see what I'm doing than stab someone in the dark. And it makes a good impromptu. Anthony says, I typically wear carpenter style jeans that fit loose and comfortable in the legs and allows great leg movement. Nice. Before I found stretchy jeans, those were my go-to. I've had some good pairs. Anybody else? Anybody else? I think it's time to go. I'm going to fade out here. So don't forget, we've got those $5 swag packs. Sold more of them yesterday. You guys are really eating those up. I should have done this years ago, apparently. Take care, Stacy. Oh, and Liz has one. I become highly aware of how impractical, quote, fancier outfits like pencil skirts are, not only for self-defense, but also leaving a potentially inflamed situation. If I can, I choose dress boots when allowed for better footwear option in a self-defense situation. That makes sense. Don't forget, if you want to support us, you've got a bunch of ways you can do that. We've got the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. We've got the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% on anything at whistlekick.com. And you've got the family page, whistlekick.com/family. When was the last time you checked out the family page? We update it weekly. It is on my agenda for today or tomorrow to go update that page again. I put right at the top the last time I updated it. So you know, hey, when did Jeremy update this? Oh, he updated it yesterday or today. Or nope, he hasn't quite updated it this week. I'll check back tomorrow. I suggest you find some kind of recurring schedule and check it weekly, because sometimes we throw exclusive discounts in there and other fun stuff that you're not going to find elsewhere. If you have questions and comments, you can put those on the Facebook page, facebook.com/firstcupwithjeremy. I'll leave you something to talk about, think about every day. But if you don't do Facebook, you can always email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook, on YouTube. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're on Twitter. Tuesday and Thursday, we're on Twitch. And I spent some time yesterday evaluating other platforms. We may start doing others. That is to be set up, to be determined. TBD. Dennis says, I do find that I throw better knee strikes while wearing a kilt, though. And Anthony agrees with me. Flashlights are great impact weapons as well, as can momentarily blind an aggressor. Jenny says, responds to Liz, if I have to get fancy, I accept that in order to defend myself, I may have to have a wardrobe malfunction. Ha! And that's where we're going to end, because that's funny stuff. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you back here tomorrow.